Welcome, beloved souls, to your soul's well. This is Vivía, and I'm back with another astrology video. Can you believe it? So soon after the one I just produced? Wow, right? Wow. I'm impressed with myself. Are you impressed? Today we're talking about the Cancer new moon happening on July 13th, or perhaps even 14th, depending on where you are in the world. It happens at 5:44 a.m. Eastern Time in North America, putting that at 2:44 a.m. Pacific. Adjust for your time zone, please. With any new moon, we have here the moon and the sun in conjunction, meaning they're in the sky at the same time, and they're at the same degree at 21 degrees, 59 minutes, which is almost 22 degrees. New moons are about seedings, and usually whatever manifestation there is comes about 6 months after. Although there is a larger lunar cycle within the moon phases, typically you can just look 6 months out to see what you seeded now, to see what will be growing then. And that full moon will happen December 23rd at 2 degrees, 14 minutes of Cancer. Cancer deals with our inner security, our emotion. In the chart, it is the fourth house. So it deals with the foundation. So it could be your home, your domestic life, your family, your roots, your ancestry. It's about going within, honoring our emotions, creating emotional security for self and for others. It is one of the divine feminine signs of mother, nurturing, of being vulnerable. It deals with our emotional healing. It deals very much with the past, with traditions, family heirlooms. This new moon particularly because Mercury is here in retrograde and combust to the sun. Well, the retrogradation part of it is bringing up more stuff from the past and wherever that is in your chart, but it's Cancerian. It really is emphasizing the need to release, let go about the things that are coming up, providing for this emotional healing, providing for these wounds that are being exposed to be healed. So, of course, also Cancer deals with creating a sense of safety, of home, and of belonging. Cancer is all about nourishing, the nurturing aspect of the divine mother, of the mother within us all, the divine feminine within us all, because within us all there is the divine mother and the divine father, and that in growing into adulthood, we have to, in a sense, become our own best mother and our own best father. And so Cancer again is about our chosen family karma. And with Mercury being here, it does emphasize any of those, the stories we have about our families, our ancestry, our lineage. And the moon rules Cancer, and the moon is here in domicile in its new moon phase. It is at its full strength, meaning that emotions might be very high, sensitivities might be very high, but also intuition, our psychic abilities, very honed in instinct, and just pay attention to our dreams and our subconscious mind, and being very open to the ethereal reality to see what kind of information comes through. If I just take a look at what is happening in the chart, and I'm not looking at any of the asteroids or fixed planets. I'm just looking at the basic chart, obviously including the modern planets. If anything, I consider myself a modern day astrologer. I like the evolutionary astrology the best, even though I've studied various different forms of astrology. And there aren't a lot of aspects being made to this new moon. Clearly, Mercury being here, being combust in this phase it's in. So that means that Mercury is very close to the sun. It went through a cazimi. It first went through a cazimi, and then which means it went into the heart of the sun, got reborn, got burnt up, got reborn, and is now proceeding in that phase of its rebirth, but it's in this combustion phase, meaning it's too close, not close enough to be a cazimi, but close enough to be combust and being burnt by the sun. So the qualities of this planet are not visible to us and therefore not accessible. That's one of those things in this chart that tells me that it might not be the best moon to put seeds into manifestation intentionally, obviously, because new things are always beginning. Things are always happening in our lives. And it's always good. I always tell people to keep a journal, especially with Mercury here in Cancer. It's nice to write out what is happening in your life, keep track of it, keep an astrological journal to help us monitor what's happening, to help us track it over time. It's incredible how much we forget, actually, and just the process of writing it down really helps us track patterns in our own lives and assess and heal. It's all about the inner work, all about the healing of old wounds. So when I look at Mercury being here so close to the sun and these qualities of Mercury, which are not that accessible at this moment, there might be things that are not going to be that easy to manifest through this, things that are mercurial, right? So launching new businesses, anything to do with finances, anything mercantile, especially to looking to the houses that Mercury has domain over. In the natural chart, it's the third house of Gemini. So look to where Gemini is in your chart. And then, of course, the sixth house of Virgo, the things relating to all the archetypes of Cancer, home, family, nurturing, and dealing with past wounds, past hurts, ancestral stories. That's where it's at. That's where this is at. And relating to this moon, and only to this moon, there's lots going on in the chart. The outer planets are moving into the basket formation, which will be mid-July, towards the end of July, I think 17th of July. They perfect. Obviously, Venus is here too, squaring Uranus. But relative to this new moon, the only other planet that's aspecting it is Saturn, and it's a wide aspect, over 6 degrees, almost 7 degrees. So Saturn at 14 degrees of Aries, squaring the moon at almost 22 degrees of Cancer. So a square from Saturn, on the world front, I can't even imagine, because because Cancer is the homeland, right? Our homeland, security, things to do with our places of residence, our family, our ancestry. And Saturn is a malefic, known as a malefic, and squares from both Saturn and Mars can create a lot of disharmony and problems. However, in our own charts, again, it goes back to whatever receding here to manifest could take longer than anticipated to come into fruition. So have patience, but also whatever receding here has potential for long-term, it's a long-term foundation, a long-term building. The time of the new moon itself is never a good time to put something to seed something out in the world. When it's a dark moon, it's the dark moon phase. It's actually the no moon. There's no moon in the sky. Look up in the sky if you can. If there are no clouds or you're in a place with little light pollution, you can't see the sky. You cannot see the moon when it's in conjunction to the sun. The moon needs to move away from the sun. So typically when you can see that crescent moon, that's when it's good time to seed the new intention, to start something new, to lift something off the ground. So try to remember that, considering there's so much newness in our world with all of the profound energy that has happened. And just considering how this chart impacts me is really about really finding home, finding that sense of belonging. So it could be about within your own family unit, like through your actual family, that your lineage, whomever you grew up with. So needing energy and healing there within your family relationships, working on healing the inner child and wounds there from the past, looking at your getting emotional renewal and clarity. Also because a new cycle is starting, but whenever a new cycle starts, an old one ends. So it's about letting go of people, emotions, things that no longer serve us, the past memories, again, past wounds, doing that shadow work and giving up anything that is old and outdated and allowing it to fall away for us to start the new. And then it's about allowing the new in. So it's about allowing the new relationships in, and what's coming is soul family, really creating soul family based on shared values, who you are becoming, who you are now, because all of us have done tremendous growth and change since the beginning of this decade, right? Look back at all the change and everything that is just the phenomenal growth that has happened, the phenomenal awareness and the things that are so rapidly changing in our world. That's not about to change. It's going to continue to keep progressing and moving fast. So as this happens, it's important for us to align to the relationships that matter most, creating that soul family, creating and attracting that soul family, the ones that we identify with beyond whom we consider our family, but some of them might still be our family, but it could be friends who feel like family, community, that intentional community, again, based on alignment, shared values, and frequency. Frequency is a real thing. So this is about expansion of our growth, our self-growth in terms of our inner wounds, healing them, and the nourishment we need to provide to self, to others, and really using this to transcend the limitations that we have, because Cancer loves security. It loves its comforts, its home, right? And habitual patterns. So breaking out of that shell, breaking out to pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, pushing to stimulate growth in that transcendence into a greater zone, creating new areas that feel comfortable and feel safe, but needing to go beyond what that is right now. I'm going to read the Chandra symbol for Cancer at 22 degrees from Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. I've read from this book before, so if you're on my channel, you've heard me. So Cancer at 22 degrees is bunches of watercress growing by a cool spring. It is spacious, making room for worlds to be born, new life to arise, the fount of existence to be tapped, the center of things to become vital again. A global sensibility, a universal dream, a brotherhood, sisterhood vision to repopulate the world with vital, fresh beings, to find the place inside that is sustaining and renewing, and to give it forth abundantly. A certain spirit of destiny breakthroughs, something different, previously unsuspected, diving for the eternal waters, and here they are, if they are called in at full power. The one given the task to refocus the shared aspiration to bring us all together. You have an utterly engaging quality that cannot be denied once it fully arises, with the most memorable of touches and looks. The presence of the great goddess force at every level, accessible if dreamed up and invited in, the cracking through at the peak time and place. All is revitalized, everything forgotten comes on the spiral to the next octave and is released into the celebration of being. Yeah, the mention of the goddess, because this is such a feminine rebirth, the rebirth of the divine feminine and the new moon seeding that. And it is about honoring our divine mother within. So engage in any of the divine feminine activities. It doesn't mean that you have to be a woman to do this. We all have the divine feminine within us. This is not a gender thing. This is an archetype thing. This is an energy thing. So it's about nurturing your relationships, taking care of yourself, any type of rituals that would involve water. And don't get all weird about the word ritual. It's like something that you do for ceremony and to invoke the divine. So any of these spiritual activities or techniques that specifically celebrate the divine feminine energy, that celebrate coming together, doing any type of healing work and creating your safety, nurturing places, also participating in any type of community gatherings that celebrate these shared values. All those things could lead to more awareness of self and healing and celebrating the divine feminine. But let me know in the comments what your ideas are around this. I'd love to hear them. I'm going to go through the signs. Cancer, the new moon happens in your first house. You are the star of the show. It's all about you. Newness burgeoning here in your house of body, your physicality. Maybe you might want to change how you look, how you're presenting yourself. It could be a whole new identity, like really relating differently to self and who you are showing up as. So Mercury, however, is retrograde in this house. So maybe stuff coming up for you regarding yourself. And again, Cancer is about nurturing self and emotions. So maybe sensitivities towards things in the past that you may have been sensitive towards, things maybe perhaps dealing with your childhood. You have Pluto in your 8th house. So there's that karmic excavation happening there in this, house of stored trauma and the past. Also a water house for you, it's Aquarius. However, it is the natural house of Scorpio. So just pay attention to what is coming up for you around stored memories, past memories, childhood stuff, any of those wounds. Leo, this is happening in your 12th house. So it could be affecting your dreams. Pay attention to, you especially pay attention to dreams, to the ethereal world, to what's being spoken to you through in between the words, in between the lines, reading in between the lines, seeing intuitively deeply accessing information that cannot be seen, that is not visible on the surface. You've got Mercury retrograde here. So things from the past really coming up absolutely could do with your generational lineage through this 12th house. It could have to do with past lives. This is a past life house. It could have to do with any type of foreign travel, foreign places, and even perhaps money made from foreign shores or foreign investments with Mercury going retrograde there. Information that way. Perhaps, so for some of you, I'm getting regrets. The word regret comes up. Some of you, it could be regret dealing with perhaps investments over shores. That's the information that's coming. Virgo, you have the new moon happening in your 11th house that deals with your social networks, your friendship groups, alliances, allies. So newness burgeoning here for you. Something coming alive here, and safety and security. First, going beyond what you consider as safe and secure and forming perhaps new alliances and allegiances that help you expand your sense of who you are in that community, who your community is. This is where Mercury is retrograde for you. So things from your past coming up about past relationships, past alliances, past friendships, and any type of networking that you did. You might be reconsidering some of it and things from your past coming up. Libra, this information, this new moon is happening for you in your 10th house, your very public, visible house of career, of status, of legacy, of authority. So perhaps for some of you, you're starting a new job, taking on something new in your current existing career or within your vocation. So this is where your healing is happening as well. Perhaps healing something from your past with Mercury going retrograde here as it deals with who you are perceived as, who you are seen as, or a role that you're taking within the context of the work that you do out in the world. Scorpio, you have this happening in your 9th house. Your 9th house deals with your higher mind, your faith, your belief system, your world viewpoint, your studies, perhaps visas and travel, perhaps foreigners and cultures, different languages. So something new happening here for you, something new seeding and growing, and also the healing is here. Healing any emotional wounding or trauma and creating a greater security and emotional security through the lens of this house. It could happen just to be expanding your world viewpoint or changing your belief system around something. And this is where you have Mercury going retrograde. So Mercury retrograde in this house may be dredging up stuff from your past and memories coming to the surface of things that deal with just that, your philosophy on life, how you viewed your life, having a greater context for this, understanding that things are changing here for you and being broad-minded enough to accept the change that's coming in, accept the healing, right? Accept the healing to open up and expand to a new sense of belonging in the world, who you are in this world. Sagittarius is happening in your 8th house. So the 8th house deals with, it's other people's resources, investment incomes, residual income. So for some of you, maybe some type of new income, residual income coming through for you, income through a partner or a business partner or spouse coming through, but also to dealing with trauma here, especially with Mercury in this house going retrograde, dredging up stuff from the past, perhaps connected to your childhood, could be connected to your family of lineage, could be buried deep in your psyche, that's the 8th house, and could deal with trauma from your past in any sense. It could be childhood, it could be relational through another person, or perhaps even dealing with another person's trauma. That could be what's happening too, and that could be what's coming to the surface for you to deal with. Capricorn, this is happening in your 7th house. Your 7th house is your relational house of the other. It's a contractual house of commitment, of spouses and long-term partnerships, of business deals. It is also your market. If you have clients or marketplace or an audience, this deals with that. For some of you, something new starting here in those areas. It does depend on your chart, what would be starting, and dealing with wounds that deal with perhaps your partner, long-term commitments, contracts, and something coming back up here because Mercury is retrograde in this house. So information coming in, dealing with your partner, some contract, or perhaps your audience and marketplace. Aquarius, you have this happening in your 6th house. And your 6th house is an everyday house of habits, of your health, your work, small pets, your work environment. If you have a job or if you have employees, it's a house of service. So it could be people coming into your house providing you a service. It could be how you give service to the world. Something new is starting, something new here for you, and needing to deal with any past things that are coming up for you, because this is where Mercury is retrograde for you. It's retrograde in your 6th house. So stuff from your past coming up, information coming up regarding your everyday house, and it could deal with your health. This is a health house. So pay attention to that. Remember, Cancer is very instinctive, and intuition plays a key role here. Listen to your intuition, especially regarding your health. Pisces, you have this happening in your 5th house. Your 5th house has to do with, very oftentimes, children, your children. It has to do with romance, adventure, could deal with speculation and taking risk. So something new here. And if it is children, because Cancer deals with children, mothering, nurturing, something from the past is coming up. And one of your children, if you have children, might be bringing something up to you, and that is that Mercury going retrograde, information, having to revisit information and deal with some type of healing within your own family, within your own relationship with children. But again, it could be a romantic partnership, and it could be a new romantic partnership. It could be a new investment coming to light. And remember that Cancer is about deep emotional growth and healing, and perhaps needing to dig deep with this one if it does involve a child. Aries, you have this happening in your 4th house. Your 4th house is your foundational house. It could actually literally be your house. Maybe some of you will changes in your home, but the foundational inner security of your own actual self, and creating this deep healing, perhaps improved connections with family, and evaluating your own safety versus growth. Mercury is retrograde here in this house. So things coming up from the past that deal with your inner security, foundation, perhaps your home, and your family of origin, and stories, lineage, generational stories. Taurus, this is happening in your 3rd house. Your 3rd house is about your mind. It's your mental capacity, your intellect, how you think, how you speak. It's communication, it's media, it's your siblings, it's your immediate environment. Short distance trips fall here. So with Mercury retrograde, maybe for some of you, you're not doing a lot of travel perhaps, but stuff coming up that deals with your siblings or cousins. That literally is Mercury. It's very mercurial. But newness burgeoning here. This is where the seed is being planted. So maybe some of you have ideas, perhaps for moving your neighborhood. Could be something as simple as buying a new vehicle, but perhaps a new kind of relationship forming with the people that are found here in this house, which again are your siblings, cousins, aunties, uncles, but also your immediate environment. For some of you, that could be neighbors and the people that you interact with on a daily basis. Gemini, this is happening in your 2nd house. Your 2nd house deals with your earned income, your value system, and your self-worth, what you possess. Literally what you possess, but it's also your self-possession, which has to do with your self-worth, your self-esteem, which is all this house. Deals with early childhood as well. So with Mercury going through there, memories of the past might be coming up, and things connecting to your home, your family lineage coming up. So needing to deal with that and any wounds that are surfacing. Remember, the 2nd house proposes the 8th, which is deep and traumatic work that needs to be done. Keep all this in mind as progression of this moon happens, and something new perhaps for you starting here. I would be very precautious putting something out that is really new under this moon, because this house is your 2nd house of finances. Yes, it's run by Taurus. Yes, it's Taurus's domain, but this is where Mercury is retrograde right now. So it might not be the ideal time to start something new in terms of your own finances or income. But what is really showing itself to me is something new is just seeding here around your concept of self-worth and how you evaluate self, and building that, using this as to build a new foundation for yourself around self-care and nurturing, and building yourself up to have more confidence in self, if that's what's needed, to have greater self-awareness, self-esteem. All right, beloved souls, thank you so much for being here with me. I really deeply appreciate all of you, sending all the world so much love. Stay blessed, beloved souls, and I will see you on the next video.